Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Skald, Against the Black Priory, where today things go from simply cursed to recursive. Still a lot of questions about what exactly is going on here, but considering that we've got Father and possibly Embla right around the corner, methinks we should be getting at least a few answers in fairly short order. The question being, of course, are those really answers we want to hear? Let's push on. Lockpicks, nice. Umbarian wine. Assorted potions, sure. Ooh, and that is a well-stocked armory. Let's go ahead and crack this thing open. Oh, wow, we have way more lockpicks than I realized. You know what? I think that's fine. We're good. And off to a great start with mailed gauntlets of diplomacy. Masterwork chain of fortitude. Interesting. Oh, great axe. Come on. We'll find a war axe someday. Someday. Fine longbow of speed. Okay. More arrows and an accurate masterwork dagger. Okay, well, I mean, great axe aside, I think we can get use from pretty much all of this. Gauntlets are +1 soak without giving up our precious diplomacy bonus. Oh, interesting. The masterwork chain is actually pretty competitive with our non-magic half-plate. Though I would prefer to hold out for some proper magic plate, like what we've got on Roland. So really, it comes down to either Drina or Iben. And I think we'll go Iben, since that'll pull double duty, bumping both his toughness and his survival. Definitely doesn't do him any favors on dodge, though. As for the longbow of speed, that's a step down for most of our actual archers. So we'll toss it to one of the tanks. Yeah, that'll make Farron ever so slightly more mobile. Great axe is basically just sales fodder, sadly. Sadly, not much we can do with that. And the dagger. Oof, that hit on damage definitely hurts. Nice bump on crits, but obviously that doesn't really help much if the base damage is half. Might toss that to Freya, or just sell it. We'll figure something out. Alright, let's check the other side. I mean, certainly could have been a better haul. Some proper plate or a war axe would have been welcome. But all things considered, certainly not bad either. Lore object? No? Well, a bit late for the armory key, but we'll take it. I'm a bit surprised, though. I really would have expected to find notes or chronicles of the former governor or something scattered around. Perhaps we'll still find him kicking around here somewhere. Maybe he's Father? Gentlemen? And here we go. Reaver something. Those two in back are rocking daggers. Those might actually be sorcerers. Let's be careful here. Not too worried about run-of-the-mill Reavers. But an actual caster, or even just a backstabby rogue, could definitely complicate things. Reaver Mystic. Okay, yep, those are definitely casters. Or at least a caster, singular. Ooh, poison arrows. Yeah, these guys are getting a mite bit nastier. Alright, let's mute the threat. Drina moves to block. Should have cured that poison in passing. That's fine. We've got potions. Archer stunned. Drina also poisoned. Cat getting a mite bit low. Let's get that handled. Still poisoned, but at least topped off. Keep the Mystic on mute. Headshot. Heavy out. Casters out. Could have saved that one for Ivan, but it was just too risky. Oof. Drina, let's get you topped off. No cascade. Nice, nice. Heavy's out. We'll go for one more top off. Perfect. That was a halfway decent fight. Nice change of pace. Wouldn't mind seeing more like that. Governor's office. Nothing in the desk. Interesting. Though we do have a ring of stealth. I think we've already got a ring on Cat, though. Yeah, I'd rather have the +1 thievery. Conspicuous cultists. Hold off on that for a sec. Spellbooks, okay. Not gonna lie, would have really loved a lore object, but I'm certainly not going to sneeze at some free spells. Skirt by the central hall. This gate must be the main exit from the keep. It's currently locked with a key nowhere in sight. Okay. Let's pop up top. Gentlemen. This is fine. Ahead, 3 figures clad in tattered robes sit bound and kneeling. One is sobbing loudly, and the second sits trembling in a puddle of his own piss. The third, however, face covered by a hood, seems more composed. And familiar. Slowly, from the shadow, something emerges, twice the size of a man, yet oddly graceful. The being is utterly alien in every fashion. You have no doubt you, at last, find yourself in the presence of Father. The father beast stalks over to the first captive, all the while breathing heavily and wheezing as if not accustomed to breathing air. Slowly, its 4-fingered hand reaches out towards the man's head, grasping it as easily as a grown man would grasp an apple. It pulls the poor wretch close, and for a moment, its horrible yellow eyes seem to peer into the man's mind. The creature emits a strange trilling sound and then, with terrifying ease, crushes the man's skull like an egg. I'm glad we just stood here and watched that happen. The creature moves down the line and the process repeats. Once again, it gazes deeply into the eyes of the terrified prisoner, almost as if it is looking for something. No, don't! But once again, the wretch is found wanting. Fragments of brain and skull spray across the hall. Your attempt to cry out sticks in your throat. Father stalks down the line to the final victim. Okay, frozen in horror, that's fair. The beast lets out a strange trilling sound as it fixes its gaze on the third person. For the first time, you notice that, unlike the others, she's not bound at the wrists. With steady hand, she pulls back her hood, and even with all the years past, you immediately recognize her. Embla. As if sensing your presence, she turns her head slightly towards you. Even in the dim light, you get a feeling that she's smiling. Then, the creature looms over her. No! The creature's eyes go wide as it reaches towards her. If it was searching for something, it must have found it. Roaring in triumph, it lunges, but at the moment of impact, the room instead explodes with white light. The heavy metallic smell of ozone mixes with the stench of burned flesh as the creature staggers backwards, clutching its eyes in pain. Embla collapses on the floor as the surrounding cultists howl in shock and terror. Most flee in wild panic, whilst a handful instead scramble for weapons to stand in defense of their wounded master. The creature may have been temporarily blinded, but it flails wildly in insane rage. It's mad with rage, and nonetheless formidable. You attack. Alright, wow. Gotta say, not much of a fight here, unless these guys are deceptively strong. Really would have expected more to stick around. They had a pretty good opportunity there to immediately put us on the defensive by drawing us up between those two rows, but then just sort of hand-waved it. So we'll just immediately go on the attack. One out, one panicking. Yeah, this is going to be a bit anticlimactic. You know what this encounter really kind of highlights is the game's lack of a proper sanity system. Given the obvious Eldritch influence, you'd really think they'd have some sort of Call of Cthulhu-style horror or madness mechanic. Like, there is a willpower check, which also I feel like should probably be called up more often. We've had a lot more fortitude checks than willpower checks, which, again, given the setting, feels a bit off. I mean, if this were a game like Call of Cthulhu, just gazing upon this thing would be enough to potentially inflict negative status effects. Which would definitely be a bit of an equalizer for this otherwise fairly run-of-the-mill fight. Obviously not the end of the world, just Dungeon Master thoughts. Yeah, and now it's basically over. With no ads to distract us, we can just debuff this guy to death. And we're good. Not much in the way of loot, but that's fine. Doesn't really feel like we earned it. Embla, you good? Oh. Chapter 4, my goodness. Your head reels and your body aches. For the first time in a long while, you allow yourself to acknowledge how truly exhausted you are. I mean, I'd imagine so. We haven't rested since we got here. Nonetheless, a cloud appears to have lifted ever so slightly with the death of the fell creature. It is as if the feeling of wrongness that pervades the island is diminished, though certainly not gone. Painfully, you get to your feet. There in front of you lies the scion that you were sent to find, Embla of House Baron. Embla sits up slowly. She's pale and sick-looking, The raw expenditure of reticular energy took its toll on her. I knew it was going to be you. It's always you. And I'm glad every time. What are you talking about? You're not making any sense. Every time? We haven't seen each other in years. Right? We've been here before 1,000 times, and we'll be here again and again until the universe itself ends. Slowly and unsteadily, Embla gets to her feet. For the first time, she looks you in the eyes. A tired smile comes across her face. Farron, it really is good to see you. Right, it's good to see you too. Your father sent me to find you. You are here because you have to be, as am I. We always have and always will. Here, on the ship, under the Priory. She looks at you intently, almost pleadingly, as if willing you to recall a memory so old it all but faded. Embla, I don't understand. What are you trying to say? Suddenly, a look of confusion falls over her face. I'm sorry, I forgot where we were, when we were. Farron, there is something so wrong here, and much worse than you realize. That thing, the father, the people and animals changing, even time is wrong. I don't fully understand it, but something is causing it, drawing it here, drawing us here. Just take a deep breath and collect your thoughts. You're not making any sense. Embla nods and draws a deep breath, closing her eyes. For a moment, she is quiet. Forgive me, I know. I'm only beginning to understand it myself. For now, I'll tell you what you... Suddenly, the heavy tramp of armored feet echo throughout the keep as the beleaguered remnants of the Harran City Guard make their way to the main hall. Ineptly brandishing a sword, Marcus is bringing up the rear. The former Chamberlain and now de facto ruler of Harran looks even more thin and drawn than when you first met him. But nonetheless, there is a small glimpse of triumph in his eye. Marcus! Farron, you've done it! We've... He's cut short as his gaze falls upon the grotesque corpse of the father. By Galleon the Great, protect us all! How can such things exist? Where did it... He tries and fails to fight back the nausea, while Marcus retches in disgust. Embla meets your eyes. It is clear that she has much to say, but now is not the time or place. Wordlessly, you agree that both questions and answers will have to wait for now. You all right there, Marcus? Just breathe, buddy. Marcus slumps heavily down in a chair as he catches his breath. He tries hard to avoid looking at the corpse sprawled on the floor. Once more, we owe our fortunes to you, Farron. Sadly, the situation is dire. So many were taken by the Reavers, and there are hardly any left. We found but a few dozen survivors in the dungeons where there should be hundreds. Where have they all gone? Embla, thoughts? Embla answers. I'm afraid I have the answer to that. There was a method to the Reavers' madness. Those they took were taken for a reason. The ones Father approved were gathered together and placed on ships. Marcus's face goes white. Why? For what possible purpose? I can't tell you for what purpose, but I think I know where they went at least. North, to the island of Gradla. No doubt there is much more to Embla's story than she's willing to share with Marcus. Marcus stammers as he searches for words. He gets up, calls for one of the guards, then changes his mind, turns around sharply, and produces a piece of paper and a quill, but ultimately fails to think of anything useful to do with it. Ultimately, he turns back to you and Embla with a mask of utter dejection on his face. Gradla. Oh, here we go. Embla looks at the corpse of the father for a moment, then back at Marcus. Though there is much I do not know yet, I will say this much. Chaos engulfs the Outer Isles, and the force that drives it is rising. For whatever reason, Gradla lies at the center of this conjunction. Northernmost of the Outer Isles, cold and barren, home to the ruined monastery, the Black Priory. A singular settlement, Adler's Helm. Go on. The Empire will not come for us, and though we cannot escape the Outer Isles, I believe a fast ship and a skilled captain could make it to the shores of Gradla. If we can force a landing, we may have a chance at stopping the conjuncture before the Outer Isles are lost forever. Yes. Rescue the lost souls of Haran and at the same time deal with this conjuncture. Embla says nothing. But if no help is coming from the mainland, we have no one to turn to but you, Farron. Truly, we cannot ask this of you. I have neither men nor much equipment to offer. Well, I've already come this far, and it sounds like Embla's not ready to just hang it up and go home. Guess I'm in this for the long haul. Let's save the Outer Isles. Embla smiles warmly. Then it is settled. We make for Gradla, and whatever fate awaits us there. As for a ship and a captain, the vessels here in Haran are ruined, and surely there's not a captain alive that will brave the seas at this time. Actually, you know what? It's funny you should mention that. I might just know someone who's fearless and foolish enough to actually help us out with that. You explain how you found the crew of the Weather Maiden hiding in a sea cave to the northwest of town, as Marcus listens intently. As much as I detest smugglers, it can't be denied that they are some of the finest sailors to grace these oceans. I would indeed begin my search there. Then I guess we've got a plan. I'll pay him a visit, make sure he's on board. Oh, shoot. Right, okay. Sorry, Freya, looks like this is the end of the line for you. Which actually does make sense, I mean, if we assume that she was, in fact, one of the locals, now that we've recaptured Haran. She wouldn't have much reason to go gallivanting off again. Marcus smiles at you with an optimism that is utterly malplaced given the gravity of the situation. Then it is decided. Aid is not long for the people of Haran. Before you go, be sure to visit the armory in the western part of the keep. If there is any material aid we can offer, you shall have it. May the Golden Dead keep their hand over you. Yeah, let's hope so. And level ups across the board. Let's hope that counts towards Embla as well. We'll need to find a bed so we can swap her out sooner rather than later. Ah, Farron! No news of our missing citizens? I beg you to make haste to Gradla. And if you've not already done so, stop by the armory before you go. I will indeed. Let's go give it a peek. Oh, hey, hi there. Ugh, what a mess. An aging guard is muttering, annoyed to himself as he compares the stocks of the armory with the content of a list. As you enter the armory, he's quite unable to hide his annoyance. Yeah, the saviors of Haran are to be given all possible aid. I know. Yeah, is there a problem here? Not for you. I'm the one left sorting out this mess of a supply situation. I've been ordered to assist you as best I can. Here's the best I can. There should be some gear laying around that I haven't gotten around to inventorying yet. Take it and use it as you please. Secondly, I'm to sell you supplies at a favorable rate. The quartermaster shudders at the very thought. Okay, well, I mean, let's see what you got, I guess. And right off the bat, of course, no war axes. Actually pretty sparse in general on magic weaponry. Nothing that really jumps out. I see fire arrows, but no standard. Pretty sparse on magic armor, too. Yeah, I guess they really are running pretty thin. Oh, come on. Magic leather of presence. That couldn't be plate mail. Gosh darn it. Man, if that presence armor had been pretty much anything but light, we would have had good use for it. No worries, though. We're certainly not hurting on gear. Let's pop out to the city proper, say our farewells to Freya, get Embla settled in. Unceremoniously, Embla sets off at a brisk pace. We should venture to be as well prepared as possible before leaving Idra. Any supplies we need, now is the time to get them. A bizarre thought crosses your mind. It's like she's an actor playing out a scene she's performed 100 times before. Embla, wait. You clearly know more about what's going on here than you're letting on. I kept quiet around Marcus, but I think it's time you came clean. Yes, and we have much to talk about, though I may have fewer answers than you would have preferred. Worse yet, I fear what answers I do have, you will wish you had never gotten. Embla looks around. Her voice drops. Sadly, we are much less safe here in Haran than Marcus would like to believe. I'll answer what I can now, but most things should wait until we are far away from here. What are you worried about? Father's dead. Is it the Reavers? No, them least of all. But there are other forces far older and more powerful than the Reavers with their eyes fixed on the Outer Isles. Let's just be careful. Okay. So, ask what you will, but mind your surroundings. Right. Well, what can you tell me then that's safe to share? Reality itself is becoming undone around us. We cannot escape it, so instead we must seek the eye of the storm. Grodla. There is something there that beckons. Embla interrupts herself and looks around suspiciously. Okay, well that's a lot to take in. What about that father thing? Where does he fit into all this? As mankind has ever ruled the land, there are far older and more sinister things that rule the depths of the ocean. Ancient things with utterly alien minds. The deep ones are drawn here like flies to carrion, and now they too have their terrible eyes fixed on Grodla. So that's why the Reavers were sending people to Grodla? The Reavers served the gods that their ancestors worshipped here in the Outer Isles, a faith that had lain dormant for millennia. As the conjunction approached, they were reminded of old allegiances and old, terrible ways. Yeah, you keep mentioning this conjunction. What is that? What's its function? Heresy. There are powerful men who would burn us alive at the very mention of it. They have known about it for a long time, the courts of the Magi. It is the nightmare they want to close their eyes and pretend doesn't exist. Why? What is it? Not here. We've already lingered for too long, and I've said too much. We better move on for now and talk more once we leave Idra behind. Embla smiles. I promise there will be a time for more questions once we are safe. For now, I'm truly happy it's you by my side, here at the edge of madness. Now let's finish gathering supplies and then make our way to Iago. Time, unfortunately, is working against us. Ooh, intriguing. Alright, let's have a look around. We can already see there's signs of life around Harran once more. Perhaps we can finally access those mysterious sealed structures. As far as the scenario goes, still a lot of question marks, but I mean, the first thing that springs to mind is some permutation of like the Doctor Strange Dormammu confrontation. The idea of an elder god, or elder gods plural, since she did use plural form, that live outside the strictures of time, trying to bring about some inevitable event. With Embla here, somehow trying to keep it at bay, albeit through recursive loops. Though her phrasing might imply the exact opposite, that the gods are using these loops to prevent her from succeeding. Look lively, boys! The savior of Harran graces our halls. A tall woman dressed in plate mail with a greatsword on her back offers a short bow. You're unsure if she's being sarcastic or not. You know, I'm not sure how I should take that. Did I do something to offend? She holds up her hands in apology. I'm sorry. I meant no offense, truly. Without your aid, we'd all be dead. Or worse. It's just that me and the boyos missed most of the fighting, and it pains me to see that we had to rely on mercenaries to keep Imperial citizens safe. Look, I get that. We were just in the right place at the right time. So who am I talking to? Name's Vivian Larudo. I'm the newly minted captain of the city guard. It would appear the city's stock of officers is running low indeed. What, you don't think you're cut out for the job? Ha! Put me on the street to wrestle with thugs and drunkards any day. But this, being captain, is a bit of a change of pace for me. A lot more responsibility, as you can probably guess. Especially now with the city in ruins and people streaming back in to pick up the pieces of their lives. Yeah, I'll bet. That reminds me, with more people streaming in, you'll find the streets a bit more busy. Even more businesses are open as well now, and I recommend you spend some time looking around before you continue on your travels. At least be sure to get a hot meal and a warm bed. Right, yeah, of course. I'll certainly look into that. But I had some questions. You mind? Sure don't. What do you need? I don't remember seeing you back at camp. How'd you survive this mess? I'm ashamed to say me and a handful of my lads ended up captured by Reavers. They started killing us off one by one, real slow, while the rest were forced to watch, or even... Her eyes grow glassy. Then she shakes her head defiantly. Then the madmen suddenly started infighting, like bloody animals. But at least we managed to flee. We hid under the docks like bloody rats. For days we hunkered down, ate limpets and drank salt water. Had no weapons and my men were all exhausted or hurt, so we just stayed there. I suppose surviving don't make you a hero. But here we are, and I intend to make the most out of it. Well look, the first rule of heroics is you can't do anyone any good if you're dead. But since you did survive, now's your chance to put that life to good use. I'm sure you won't disappoint. So how about the rest of the townsfolk? Everyone settling in okay? Well, as I said, people are streaming back into town. A lot more people than were at the refugee camp, in fact. You say that like it's a bad thing. No, it's not that. A lot of people did what I did and hid until the terror passed. I'm just saying, not this many. What are you trying to say? Look, let me ask you this. Once a Reaver washes off the paint and blood and shit, and puts regular clothes back on, is he still a Reaver? I see, you're worried you've got Reavers just blending back in with the normal refugees. That's the thing, ain't it? The Reavers were regular people. Friends and neighbors. Family, even. Most of them lie dead now or have fled Harran. But not all. I think some of them just took off their rags and went right back to being ordinary people. That is a troubling thought. I guess just stay vigilant. Well, good luck with that, I guess. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know. Sure. Best of luck and stay safe. Right, you too. Yeah, that is problematic, as is the potential lingering after effects of the maybe cured contagion. Gentlemen? That also gives us a heads up that we do have new folks around town to chat up. So we'll have to be sure to scour every nook and cranny just in case. There's still no way out of this ship. That is weird. Hello there. Secret door? Oh, interesting. Alright, you know what? We'll put a pin in that for now. Let's chat up the bartender. Also, still need to get Embla swapped in. Oh, okay. So no actual dialogue, just minor goods. Noted. Anything over here? Nope. Looks like Kala's place is pretty much abandoned. Which would give us an opportunity to grab the quest items had we not done so already. Ooh, is that Corey? Hey, glad to see you made it. Oh, no, it's, okay. Yeah, it's the patty cake girl. Slightly awkward place for her to be hanging out, but good to see she survived. I'm guessing she doesn't have anything new for us, but I will double check that off screen. In fact, you know what? We should probably pause it here so I can put together a better game plan on how to approach this. Right now I'm just kind of wandering aimlessly. Still though, Act 4, man. So we are well and truly into the back half of the game now. Really doesn't feel like it. But this is apparently a 5-act structure. And yeah, as far as Embla's part in this goes, definitely some sort of recursive loop going on, some sort of time shenaniganery. Hard to say which side is responsible, though. The entities we're facing, assuming they are your classic cosmic eldritch gods, would probably exist outside of time. So I could definitely see it going either way, though the Dungeon Master in me assumes that they would try to subvert expectations. That would play into Embla's whole comment about time literally not being on our side. But I suppose we'll find out. That said, we'll hit the pause button for now. I will track down a bed, figure out what is and isn't worth doing here, take care of some trading off screen, and we will pick up here next time. As we set our sights, I suppose, on a priory engagement. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Eerie B23, Revenant, Alois, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.